Textbooks are too expensive, and legal textbooks are particularly bad. But not this one. It's free. I'm James Boyle. I teach intellectual property law at Duke Law School, and with my colleague Jennifer Jenkins, we're releasing an open, free intellectual property casebook. The book is under a Creative Commons license, which allows you freely to copy, share, and even transform it. We've tried to make the presentation accessible. You won't often find comic book pages illustrating concepts in law textbooks, but we've provided some. We begin every section with a review of the structure of the law and the often conflicting goals it tries to serve. The book is relatively detailed, and because of the extensive outlining, the professor can easily select the portions that they wish to use. We've also included a number of teaching tools, some of which we developed during the pandemic. There are extensive comparison charts between the various forms of intellectual property. We also use flowcharts, which our students say are particularly useful in understanding the structure of the doctrine and the flow of the analysis. At the end of each section is a checklist which allows the student to go through and see if they have achieved mastery of the material. The book spends a fair amount of time on the constitutional and theoretical foundations of this really important subject. The book discusses, frankly, the tensions between intellectual property and free speech, but also of competition and monopoly. A great many writers have opined on the delicate balance between property and the commons, and you'll get to read some of them. Whether it's Mark Twain asking for perpetual copyright, or Victor Hugo, who thought that copyright was fundamental to maintaining an independent intelligentsia that could challenge the excesses of power. You'll get to read some of the prognosticators of the early internet and measure their predictions of what a global network would bring against the reality you see around you today. The book provides a fairly extensive historical background to the law. We explore copyright and patents' fascinating history, particularly the tension between wanting to encourage innovation and invention and fearing corruption and the ability to hand out monopolies by the state. But we also focus on current trends, looking where the law has been and where it is going, and providing empirical evidence where necessary of what's currently happening in the legal system. The book is based around a series of problems. Each problem explores one contour of the material being discussed, whether or not it is offensive trademarks or parodies, or attempts to hold intermediaries liable for those who use their services to violate the law.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, my name is David Boyle and I represent Napster.
That was one of the problems from the book, a videoed oral argument in the Napster case, where the students get to test themselves to see whether or not they could answer the judge's questions better than the actual lawyers did. One of the most important questions is why all of this matters. What are the human stakes behind intellectual property? We wrote this edition during the pandemic, and we thought that it made clear something quite important. For the first time, a substantial portion of the world's population mused pretty much every day on the same kinds of things that intellectual property scholars worry about. What's the right way to encourage innovation at breakneck speed? Is it a matter of providing exclusive rights and monopolies? Is it a matter of providing grant funding? Is it some combination of the two? How does one incentivize everything from basic discovery to distribution chains? These are the kinds of issues that intellectual property deals with, issues of life and death, issues of commons and property. We think they're very important, but also intellectually fascinating. We hope you agree, and we hope that you find the book of use. The book can be downloaded at that web address, or just search Boyle Jenkins Intellectual Property, and you should be able to find it. Thanks very much.